Hello friends, Horace Levy here again. In earlier blogs, I took up the pivot to the economy that Prime Minister Holness was calling for. I'm guessing that he may have been motivated by the fact that people were suffering high prices, hardship and inequality, and this didn't add up to the prosperity that he was promising. This pivot, according to Holness, was away from the macroeconomic, and I explained what that actually was. But from my part, I also argued that it had to involve replacing, had to be away from the trickle-down, laissez-faire policy that was causing the hardship, and move instead towards a state directing hand, a guiding hand, a hand guided by the state. So in my last blog, I gave an example which I thought was a good one. I hope you agreed, which is available to the government, of an alternative development policy that it could employ. It lay in state and assistance by way of farmer supply, research, and integrated government ministries to what was really a niche market, a given opportunity for the alternative development policy. This niche market is the herbs, the fruits, the flavors, the roots that Jamaica has. And Jamaica alone has this particular set. It's a unique thing. So that's what we talked about last time. You remember that? And it's an opportunity to carry out the alternative development policy to the trickle-down, one that involves state help to an existing, in that case, opportunity, the niche market. Today I want to talk about an example from industry. It's one of the companies that I had dealt with in that 5-company study that I told you about. Companies randomly chosen, actually. This particular company is called JFP. Originally, those initials came from Jamaica Fiberglass Products, a company that was set up by Stephen Sergani and then joined by Metriciaga. Has 90 employees. And it makes furniture and furnishings, that kind of thing, for hotels, for restaurants. So this is not just a bedroom thing that I'm talking about. For canteens, for commercial companies, and enterprises and business offices. Now the basic obstacles faced by JFP were competent staff, sufficient raw material, and an initial market. JFP, of course, was not alone in having these problems. The first one, of course, the untrained labor force. This is commonplace. National Baking, which was one of the other companies of the 5-company group that I referred to. I mean, among its 800 workers, very few were able to handle the electronic equipment they had to manage. It's plain how the education system in other words, has been failing. I mean, for the designing and engineering level of the work that they do, JFP could source a few graduates of UTech. But, in other words, for electrical, mechanical engineers, designers, that kind of thing. But there wasn't any steady stream of that kind of graduate at all coming from UTech. And those were needed. National Baking had the same problem. And both these companies end up essentially having to train their own people. I mean, in the end, latterly, Hart NTA has come in on the scene and provided some of the training. But they were both blamed, both National Baking and JFP blamed the Ministry of Education. But Stewart from National Baking carried his analysis back to the point where he contributed over $8 million to early childhood schooling, recognizing that the education system was lacking back to that basic level. But in addition to the staffing workforce side, there's the raw material side. And this is where the state could make a huge input by basically, and it's essentially incentivizing the production of raw materials, the ones used: acrylic, fiberglass, paint powders, solid surface stones like Korean. I'm talking about the raw materials that JFP, of course, requires. But JFP, not having them, was spurred to importing them and manufacturing products with them when the boss of Mothers, one of JFP's customers, happened to see one of its fiberglass benches that struck him as durable. But he also wanted products that had metal parts, upholstery, and glossy finishing. Seizing the opportunity, JFP launched into the production of holistic combination of wood, fiberglass, metal, acrylic. Acrylic is engineered plastic. Solid surface, both man-made and natural stones, and multiple kinds of veneer. Mothers was quickly followed by Tasty and Juicy, and soon after by KFC and a string of other internationals. Pizza Hut, thank God it's Friday, Wendy's, Starbucks. And then hotels came next, starting with Spanish Court, but moving on to Marriott and other international hotels. Their entire hotel rooms, furniture, and old furnishings. These are the things that JFP has been able to produce and do very well at. Mephi Siaga and Steven Sergani of JFP explain that they go to trade shows. We study and learn, quote, the latest in high-tech and implemented it. And it's because they've been so good at this technology. They've been able to impress potential buyers overseas and beat US and Chinese competitors. We outdo them in materials, quality, and skill. They can boast. JFP raised its capital by borrowing from Exim Bank, paid off its debt by an IPO, an initial public offering of $280 million, which was raised in a day, and acquired crucial equipment. The message I want to put across, though, is not about their financial success in raising the capital it needed. It's to show how, even when equipped with the equipment that they were able to get, and even importing and using imported raw materials, JFP has manufactured goods of high value able to successfully compete with Chinese and American products. So in a word, I'm saying GFP has opened up a path for other would-be manufacturers. The very materials for these products that they have produced can be manufactured in Jamaica. And if there were incentives like an initial tax relief offered by the government, this would prod them on and enable them to make a start. None of this perhaps is revolutionary. What is fresh, though, which I'm pressing, is that this is a developmental approach that employs and builds on the productive potential of Jamaican workers and entrepreneurs. It's quite capable of replacing the trickle-down failure that we have had imposed on us and the hardships that result. This is what needs to be undertaken. This is the alternative, and it's quite possible. So I've given you now an agricultural example and an industrial example. Give me your reactions. We'll talk again. Take care.